Hello students, how are you? In the last session we were talking about all about the election system in India. So we will try to complete this process of election today. If possible, we will also try to vote. Okay, you can not vote, I will vote. Okay, so let us go and start. This is Classroom TV. In case you missed out any of the previous lectures, please log into our website classroomtv.in. Okay, and this is called as the election process in India, 10th class. Okay, and see here, some constitutions are reserved for people who come from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and this is to prevent domination of those who better. See here, in our election process entirely, certain constituencies are reserved specifically for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and backward classes. Of course, women were also asking for separate constituencies reserved for women, but is a long standing dream that has not yet been fulfilled until now. Okay, that is a different thing, but until now we can see that we have still right now the present process of giving separate reserved constituencies for SC, ST and OBC and the backward classes. Okay, so that is there. So why this is given? In general, we have to understand why such a kind of system has been brought into Indian process of election. That is what we have to understand. This is to prevent a domination of those with better resources and give a chance to weaker sections of the society. So this is to give a chance to the weaker sections of the society, because SCs, STs and OBCs are believed to be weaker and isolated sections of the society basically. So to bring them economically or socially into the mainstream of the Indian society and to empower them economically, such kind of reserved constituencies are given for SCs, STs, okay, mainly other backward classes. So in an SC, ST reserved constituency, only someone from the SC, STs can stand for the election. So as I told you, see here, other backward class as well, and in an SC, ST reserved constituencies, what will happen? And for example, there is a constituency A. In this constituency, for example, 5 candidates are contesting the election. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candidates are contesting the election. In such scenario, all these 5 candidates will be SC candidates, because this constituency is reserved for SC, scheduled caste. So wherever you are finding SC, ST constituencies, there you will find only SC, ST people contesting the election in those areas. That is important. Okay, and after seeing all this process, first of all we have to understand the powers, functions and other responsibilities of the Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, so the Chief Election Commissioner is the head of the Election Commission of India. Indian Constitution guarantees certain powers to the Chief Election Commissioner. Okay, Chief Election Commissioner to conduct elections for central and state legislature in a smooth and a fair manner. Okay, so you have to understand one thing here. What is that? Who is conducting this entire election mechanism in India? Entire election mechanism is taken forward by Election Commission of India. Okay, and this Election Commission is headed by a chairman called as Chief Election Commissioner, and he is coordinated by 2 more election commissioners. Okay, all of them have equal power and authority. That is a different thing. We have these 3 members coordinating among themselves, forming an entire election commission, and they are responsible for conducting election right from the central level to the local village level. Okay, so to the central legislature, state legislature, president, vice president, everywhere you will see the same thing. Okay, manner. Usually he or she is from Indian Civil Services. Okay, usually he is a member from Indian Civil Services, IAS officers, Indian Administrative Services. Okay, his tenure is 6 years or up to 65 years. Okay, so any person who is appointed as the election commissioner of India's Election Commission, he will stay in his office until he gets age of 65 years or 6 years, whichever is earlier. Okay, if he has completed his term for 6 years, he has to retire from the or he has to come out of the position of the election commissioner. Okay, that is, his tenure is 6 years. or 65 years, whichever is earlier. That is what we have to understand. So, Chief Election Commissioner is there, he is coordinated by 2 election commissioners, he is appointed by President of India, and he is responsible for conducting the entire election mechanism in India, and his tenure will be 6 years or 65 years. That is what we have to understand. In Indian political system, the Election Commission has been playing an important role. After T.N. Seshan 1992-1996 assumed the office, the Election Commission earned a considerable popularity. He took many efforts to eradicate corruption in the elections of India. There was a nationwide recognition to the powers of the Election Commission. Okay. So, when we are talking about Election Commission, we have to go back into the tenures of different election commissioners, and one important person who stands out from all election commissioners was T.N. Seshan. So, T.N. Seshan, he was the election commissioner, chief election commissioner of India from 1990 to 1996. During his tenure as the election commissioner, chief election commissioner of India, he brought so many reforms, and as you know, election itself is a huge exercise, and there is lot of chances for corruption, manipulation, rigging, so many things are happening, right, in election. And to remove such kind of disturbances during the process of election, T.N. Seshan has brought certain reforms to make the election process entirely transparent throughout India. That is what is important. Okay. Functions of Election Commission, Article 324 to 329. So, previously we talked about Election Commission is a constitutional body. It is a constitutional body because you have articles 324 to 329. Okay. So, part 15 of the constitution states the formation, powers and functions of the Election Commission. Okay. Article 324 to 329 and part 15. See, these are the parts of the Indian Constitution. See here. So, part 15 of the Indian Constitution and article number 324 to 329. Article number 324 to 329. Article number 324 to 329, you will find the roles, responsibilities and appointment of Election Commission in India by President of India. Okay. The functions are classified as, see, we will talk about the functions of Election Commission. So, you talk about the functions of Election Commission. The functions are classified as administrative functions. First thing is administrative functions, and second thing is advisory functions and quasi judicial functions. Okay. The functions are classified as, first thing is administrative functions, they have to conduct elections entirely. Advisory functions, they also advise the local governments, the central government or state governments in terms of disputes related to the election of these members. And quasi judicial functions, because in terms of any disputes or conflicts during the process of election, Election Commission has got certain residuary powers to decide which one or what is correct and what is wrong. Judicially, what is correct and what is wrong, they have the power to decide. These are the important functions of Election Commission. We will see about these functions here. Okay. So, under these functions, the Election Commission prepares electoral rolls, revises them within the stipulated time, demarcation of constituencies and the territorial limit as per the delimitation commission. Okay. So, first one is, for example, this is a place. Okay. This is a place. Okay. They wanted to conduct election in this place. They cannot directly go and conduct election in this place. They will divide this into different constituencies. Different constituencies are there. This is a place. These different constituencies are divided according to the delimitation commission. Okay. According to the delimitation commission. Okay. According to this delimitation commission, the constituencies and their borders, geographical borders are divided, and each constituency will have a member representing that constituency. Now, they will conduct election entirely, and each constituency they will conduct election, and finally the outcome will be the result of the election, right. After this entire state or country, they will announce who is the winner entirely. Okay. After counting number of votes in each constituency, final day, on the judgment day, on the result day, they will announce what is the entire result of the election happened on so and so day. Okay. This is important. Next one, it announces the schedule of elections. Schedule of elections is announced by the Election Commission. receives nominations. First of all, they will receive the nomination, scrutinizes, finalizes the polling dates, give recognition to the political parties, and allots the symbols to them. Okay. For example, what are the basic duties of the election commission? If I am there, I wanted to start a political party, I will go along with few of my followers. Of course, nobody is there. A few of my followers, and we will go to election commission and we'll ask, see, this is a new political party. We want some symbol, representing our party. You can't randomly select some symbol and give it to them. See, this is our symbol. Lion is our symbol. Tiger is our symbol. You can't take like that. Okay, they will give you a list of symbols from which you have to select which one you want exactly. Okay, so allotting symbols to the political parties. Okay, symbols to the political parties, even the color pattern and all such will be decided by the election commission. Prepare the electoral roll, announce the dates for the election, you prepare the constituencies, prepare the polling booths, everything will be done by election commission. Okay, and see here, it frames and implements the code of conduct to be followed by the parties during elections. Okay, it frames and implements the code of conduct to be followed by the parties during election. It appoints the inquiry officers to observe electoral malpractices. Okay, first thing is what? First thing we have to understand, it frames and implements the code of conduct to be followed by the parties during elections. Okay, so as and when the election is notified, the election code, okay, the election code comes into play. Election code also has certain guidelines, rules and regulations to be followed during election, that is called as code of conduct. So it frames and implements what is this code of conduct and how the political parties have to conduct themselves who are fighting, who are contesting the election. Everything will be mentioned by the election commission. It appoints the inquiry officers to observe electoral malpractice. In case of any malpractices, for all such concerned and disputes, even there are electoral officers in state level, in district level, IAS officers will be there. Okay, in booth level sometimes. Okay, it advises the president and governor. See here, until now we have seen administrative roles and responsibilities of election commission, administrative powers. Now you talk about the advisory powers. It advises the president and governors of the states regarding the disqualification of the representatives to the parliament in the state legislature. It solves the disputes between the parties. At this time, it acts as like a quasi judicial authority. Okay, first thing is administrative, second thing is advisory, and third thing is quasi judicial. Authority, right? So here you have to understand one thing. Quasi judicial means in case of any disputes between the political parties, these disputes will be resolved by whom? These disputes will be resolved by the election commission. Okay, resolved by the election commission. And election commission also works as an advisory body who will advise the president of India or governor of any state in the matters related to disqualification. Okay, in the matters related to disqualification of members. Okay, for example, MPs are there, MLAs are there, MPs, MLAs are there. Such members of parliament or members of legislative assembly, certain times what is happening? These political leaders, they are jumping from one party to another party. Okay, and you have anti-defection law also. When such people go from one party to another party, the anti-defection law comes into play. According to this anti-defection law, they will be disqualified. So when they are disqualified, when all such things are there, who will enter into this decision making? Election commission will enter, and they will advise the president of India or the governor or the concerned authorities to see whether this is a violation of the election code or violation of the Representation of People's Act of 1950-51. All such things will be decided by election commission. Administrative, advisory and quasi judicial. Finish. All these things are related to election commission. As per the guidelines issued by the election commission of India, all the people who attain the age of 18 years on or before the 1st January in the year of election, irrespective of the caste, creed, religion, race, gender and language, etc., shall be registered as the voters. The right to vote without any discrimination is called as universal adult franchise. The body of voters is called as electorate. See here, what are the important terms? As per the guidelines issued by the Election Commission, first thing is 18 years. First thing is 18 years. By January 1st of election year, January 1st of election year, January 1st of election year. And second thing is all about voting rights. Okay, voting rights, voting rights. Okay, and next is called as universal adult franchise, universal adult franchise, adult franchise, universal adult franchise. And the body of voters entirely is called as electorate. The body of voters is called as electorate. Okay, now you understand these are the important points of this paragraph, which is very important for our examination and in general understanding also. And as you know, the moment you get into 18 years of age, not get into past 18 years of age, by January 1st of any year, or for example this year you have election, okay, this is 2021. If this year you have election, okay, your date will be seen from January 1st. Okay, so if you have crossed 18 years of age by January 1st, any election happening in 2021, you are allowed to vote. First thing is finished. Second thing is voting rights, irrespective of religion, caste, race, creed, gender, anything you take, irrespective of anything, if you are qualifying this eligibility, you will have voting rights, and all such people are given voting rights, and all such people will be called as electorate, that is called as electorate. And this basic phenomenon is called as universal adult franchise. This is called as universal adult franchise. Understand? So this is all is important about Election Commission until now. Okay. So the Election Commission of India releases the guidelines to conduct free and fair elections. It's a model code of conduct, guidelines to free and fair and conduct elections. These guidelines give an overview to the political parties and candidates about what do and don't before and during the election. Okay. As I told you, conducting election in such a vast country throughout India is not a simple thing. So Election Commission, when they are notifying that there will be an election, they will also come up with some code called as code of conduct or election code. So according to this code of conduct, Election Commission releases few guidelines as to what you have to follow during the process of election or before the election. If you cross these guidelines, you will be disqualified. That is what is important. So what are these guidelines? You have to understand. The contesting candidates and political parties shall not make any statements, see, I am giving 6 or 7 of the important code of conduct. You have remaining things in your textbook, you can, but just I am explaining those important things here. The contesting candidates and political parties shall not make any statements, pertaining to caste, creed, religion, regional, while criticizing other parties. Election code is there. Two parties, not only two parties, there are so many parties. India is a multi-party democracy. You have so many parties fighting this election, and when they are fighting this election, first thing is that election will be notified. Second thing is that you will start the phase of campaigning, when all these political party leaders, they will come and knock your doors. So many persons will knock your door, that is a different thing. When such campaigning is happening, when such open campaigning is happening, any candidate is not allowed to speak anything derogatory or demeaning related to what? Related to caste, creed, religion, region, while criticizing the other party. If party A want to criticize party B, they cannot criticize in terms of all these things, caste, creed, religion, region and all such things is not allowed. Okay. No personal comments shall be made that are not relevant to political life. Okay, not relevant to political life, that means you cannot enter into personal life. Okay, no political announcements targeting a caste or religion shall be made. When you are going into open campaigning, you can't straight away announce something that if you give us vote, we will do so and so for SCs, or so and so for STs, so and so for backward classes, so and so for minorities. So you cannot specifically target any community, any religious community or any caste community, targeting them, asking them for votes. This is not allowed. In places such as churches, mosques, temples, other holy places, educational institutions, no candidates should canvass campaign. Where? In places related to churches, okay, mosques or temples, other and places and educational institutions. In all such places, election campaigning is not allowed. Is not allowed. If you observe clearly, if you see any election in the recent future, you understand, you will try to observe how things are moving, where they are campaigning and all. They will not come near your school. They will not come near your school. You try to observe. So no candidate shall influence the voters either by giving cash or any articles. So giving cash or trying to do some or promising some undue favor, trying to give in some or the other ways and asking them for votes is not allowed. No voter shall be used to cast his or vote on the in others' identity. This is nobody will do, of course, but people are there who are doing this. That is manipulating the election. Okay, you want to vote, but you can't send your sister or brother to go and vote on your behalf. That is not possible. Okay, such kind of duplication should not happen. Any campaigning within 100 meters on the day of polling. So, for example, on the day of polling, you will understand, suppose February 14th, on this day polling is happening. Okay, February 14th polling is happening. On this day, on this particular day, 100 meters, no, there should be no campaigning. Go away, only police people will be there. Only people who want to vote, they will enter into the polling booths. No other campaigning staff, campaigning persons will not enter into this. Okay. This is all important code of conduct before the election and during the time of election. They have to follow this until the election result is out. Okay. So, code of elections. The Chief Electoral Officer at the state level assists the Election Commission of India. He or she is appointed by the Election Commission of India after consulting the state government. This post does not have a constitutional status. Generally, the senior most IAS officers are appointed. Okay. As I told you, Election Commission is itself a constitutional body. You have articles from 324 to 329. 324 to 329 you have articles, and the Chief Electoral Officer. The Chief Electoral Officer at the state level is appointed in consultation with the state government. Basically, he is from administrative service like Indian IA or IAS officers. Okay. The elections to the Parliament and State Assembly, the election to the Parliament and State Assembly, elections to the Parliament and State Assembly are held under his or monitoring. At the district level, the district collector acts as the chief election officer. Understand? So, you have at the national level Chief Election Commissioner, at the state level State Election Commissioner, at the district level the district collector will be acting as the election officer for that district entirely. So, he will monitor all the election process in that district entirely. Okay. So, to conduct and monitor elections in every constituency, an officer is appointed. He is called as the returning officer. This is important. See here, returning officer. Who is a returning officer? A question might appear. Okay, try to understand what is this returning officer, wala this thing. Okay. So, to conduct and monitor elections in every constituency, there will be a person who is called as returning officer. Any disputes happening in that constituency, people will go to his place, go to his office and complain. See, this is what is happening, some manipulation is happening in some or the other election booth. You please try to monitor that. These are the things which are managed by the returning officers. So, the candidates who registered their names in the voters list are eligible and have zeal to be elected as representatives. Such submit their nomination papers to the returning officer. Their nominations must be supported by at least one registered elector of the constituency. If a candidate is sponsored by a registered party, he is called as the party candidate. The others are called as the independents. Understand? So, during the election process, returning officers, they will be basically nominated. Okay, whoever is willing to stand and monitors entire election process for that day, they will be basically appointed as the returning officers. And if he is from a political party, he is called as party member, he is called as party candidate. And if he is from other, I mean he is not from any political party, he will be called as independent, he will be called as independent. So why all these things are happening? These are happening only to monitor entire election process for that day, to just check whether everything is going on according to rules and regulations, no manipulation is happening. Very important, because this will decide entire future of a state or future of a constituency, future of a country entirely. Okay, so this is important. So the returning officer scrutinizes the nominations and announces the eligible contesting candidates list. The contesting candidates are given the option to withdraw their nominations within the specified period. As I told you, election will be notified, nominations will be received, these nominations will be scrutinized, and anybody who is willing to withdraw the nomination, they will also be given some date, and if they want to cancel and go back from election, they can withdraw this election. There is a particular date for each and everything. Next is voting mechanism. So we will generally talk about how voting mechanism generally happens. The chief election officers in the districts make elaborate arrangements to conduct the polls. First thing is, polls are happening. Okay, like how your exams will happen and all the examination centers will be made ready for your examination, in the same way now exams will happen for these contesting candidates. So now in each and every constituency, the chief election officer of that district, he will prepare the electoral roll, everything will be ready, and he will prepare the polling booths are also for polling day. District make elaborate arrangements to conduct the polls. Okay, conduct the polls. Okay, which day we have polls? For example, we thought about February 14th we have polls. Okay, and they depute polling personnel as presiding officer and polling officers to every polling booth to conduct the polls. So who will the chief election officer of a district? They will depute polling personnel as presiding officer and polling officers to every polling booth. Understand? For as I told you, this is a district entirely. Okay, this is a district, and whatever elections are happening within the district, you will have so many polling booths in a district. So each and every polling booth, you have polling booth officers also who will monitor the entire election process happening in each and every polling booth. Okay, the election commission appoints observers to monitor the polls on the polling day. On the day of the poll, all the voters whose names are enrolled in the electoral list are allowed to cast their votes. So basically, the moment you go to election booth or the place of this election, wherever a polling day, you will go there and you find an electoral roll is present in each in everybody's hand. The concerned officers will be holding this electoral roll, and you can go to them and just check whether your name is figuring in that list or not. If your name is there, then you will be given a small slip, you can go inside, you vote, and they will put some indelible ink on your finger, and then you come out and you show your finger like that, I got it, you voted it. Okay, that is what. So this is in general happening. Whatever happens, whatever you see on a polling day, you might have seen so many times until now. Just imagine the same thing, but had here and there. Officers are there, returning officer, election officer, district officer, the state officer, and the election commissioner. Add here and there the political terms related to our civics chapter, and here your answer is finished. Okay. So after the completion of polling, EVMs, electronic voting machines or ballot boxes, are sealed and brought to the counting centers. The counting of the votes takes place at the counting centers. Okay. So here, as we thought, as we have described until now, election is happening here. This is the polling day or polling booths. Once everything is happening, whatever is there, all the constituency, all the polling booths, the electronic voting machines, these days very popular electronic voting machines, or the ballot papers. In most of the local elections they have these ballot papers or the ballot papers. Everything will be brought to the polling station. Okay, sorry, counting centers. Everything will be brought to the counting centers. Okay. and they will put this in very strong rooms. Nobody will come there, nobody will try to manipulate, nobody will try to steal or do any kind of illegal activities there. Huge police protection will be there, nobody can enter inside, and around some 1 week to 10 days of time will be there. After this one particular day, we said that February 14th election was over, and for example on February 25th voting day, okay, voting result day will be decided. Exactly on February 25th from morning 7 a.m. the story starts. Okay, all the TV news channels, they will start shouting, this party has won, that party has won, our party has won, their party has lost. All such comments will be there from morning 7 a.m. itself. They will start before the opening of polling booth itself. They will start opening of counting centers. They will start predicting the election. But before this, you have election prediction is also there. Like astrology, there are so many people who will conduct some survey, okay, poll survey, and they will release their survey, like this party will win this many seats, like all these things are going on. Okay. So the candidate who secures the highest number of votes is declared elected. He or she is given a certificate by election officer. Okay. So whatever polling polling booth is there, that election is over, every EVMs and ballot papers are coming to the counting centers. There in the counting centers, by evening all the counting will be finished, and whoever has won, the concerned officer will call them and will give them the winning certificate. He or she is given the certificate by election officers that you have won with this much of majority of votes you enjoy. And you know what will happen after winning. He will come along with huge band of followers, then all the enjoyment starts. Okay. So general elections are conducted for every 5 years at national level, state level. Before completion of 5 years tenure, if the elections are held for either assemblies. Okay. So general elections here, general elections are conducted for every 5 years at nation, state level. As you know already, every 5 years we have general elections. So before completion of 5 years tenure, if the elections are held for either assemblies or parliament, are called as mid-term elections. The elections are conducted for one or more vacancies, are termed as by-elections. Understand? See, the elections are conducted for one or more vacancies. For example, you see here 2019 our central government is formed, election is conducted, the result is out, the government has formed completely. 2019. Next election is scheduled in 2024. There might be so many reasons. Because of instability in the alliance, 2 or 3 political parties, they will come together, they will form the government. In case they do not have majority, 2-3 parties, they will come together, they will form majority, and then they will claim the power. So they have formed the power in 2019. They have already selected their prime minister. Everything is happy. But by 2022, something happened between these alliances, and they withdrew the power, withdrew the support to the concerned party. Once the support is withdrawn, what will happen after that? Once the support is withdrawn, the government will fall. Okay, the government will fall. And the President of India, basically he will say, see, the government is not claiming required strength to form the government. Okay. So anybody who is willing to form an alliance, please come forward. If nobody is coming, what will happen? Election once again, the same mechanism once again. This is called as mid-term election. Okay. And in some instances, when election is over, and in some cases when because of certain other consequences, like death of a leader or death of a person who is already elected, or in any other untoward incidents, there might be election also. This is called as by-election. Okay, by-election. The elections are conducted for one or more vacancies, are termed as by-election. If entire country or entire state is going for election once again to form the government, that is called as mid-term election. Or if only 1 or 2 vacancies are formed because of any of the reasons, that is called as by-election. Okay, mid-term election and by-election. And after this, we will also talk about nota. And these days it has become very popular, like if you do not want anybody, if you do not like anybody, you can also exercise your vote exercise your vote saying that none of the above. None of the above. We do not want any of these candidates. None of these candidates is fitting my requirement. I don't want anybody. Okay. Then you can say there is also an option there on the ballot paper or on the EVM machine. Here there will be an option called as nota. Okay. If you press this button, this becomes nota. Okay. Then what is this nota? On the basis of the judgment given by the Supreme Court in 2013, in the cases, see here, this is not a simple thing, so much of story is there. In the case of People's Union of Civil Liberties, nota is introduced. The Supreme Court stated that nota is a part of the freedom of expression. Okay, if there are so many candidates in a constituency and if we do not like either of them, anybody of them, if we do not like, then what we will do? We have an option, people like you and me has an option called as nota, where we can also press this button nota very strongly, saying that we do not like anybody, any one of the list persons in this list. Okay, this is a basic fundamental right for us, to fundamental right for expression, freedom of expression, that we do not like anybody from the list you gave us. Okay. So, nota was first introduced as an option in the state assembly elections held in Delhi, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh in 2013. So, in 2013, after the Supreme Court judgment, these were the states where nota was initially announced. Okay, in 2013. Nota is an option only. It does not affect either the winning or the losing capability of the candidates. Understand? So, it does not affect either the winning or the losing capability of the candidates. So, this will not have any lasting effect on the entire election process, but you as a voter, you can very much express saying that you are not happy with anybody of them. If the highest number of votes are polled for nota, the candidate who secured second position would be declared as a winner. So, what is the use of putting nota there? If highest votes are there for nota, the second person will be given the winning certificate. Okay, this is the entire process. Now, after this, for example, I am there, I cannot go to my constituency, I am working somewhere, because of any other constraints I am not able to go visit my constituency. People like me have an option called as postal ballot. Postal voting is voting in an election where ballot papers are distributed to electors and by post. Okay, by post, in contrast to electors voting in person at a polling station or electronically via an electronic voting machine. Understand? So, if you have option to go visit a polling booth and cast your vote, you can go and cast your vote. If I am not there in my own constituency, what will happen? So, certain I can also apply for kind of postal ballot, where I will be given postal ballot. The ballot paper will be sent to me, I can vote and send it back to the election commission. This is called as postal ballot. Okay, this is called as postal ballot. So, this is all entirely about your election mechanism. Read this chapter. In case of any doubts, you please consult us. We are there to help you. Classroom TV is there. Bye bye and see you in the next chapter.